Good evening, Russ. It's supposed to be a place where you confess your sins, not commit them. Scary moments here in West Park Thursday as a man armed with box cutters made a path of intimidation and vandalism down this street. The people gathered here are very passionately against this project, even though it's something that's happening more than 1,000 miles away. You can see behind me, we have protesters gathered on all four corners of Market and Main here in Akron. There is more than a foot of snow here. It's kind of hard to get an accurate measurement here on the road because of the plows that move through and kind of create the snowbanks. But just take a look. You can see on top of that garbage can, a powerful storm just moved through. A tornado warning here just a little bit ago. He ran into this guardrail. You can still see the damage here. The bus went halfway over the guardrail. Three passersby tried to save her life this afternoon, but they couldn't. The flames were just too powerful. Amazingly, the department only lost a few sets of gear out of 20, but they have to send it all away to be cleaned because of smoke damage. So they're thankful right now for the departments like Kennedy and Coriopolis who've sent donations for them to use in the meantime. The property was left like this, halfway demolished for several days. We're told this caution tape was put up just Thursday after Channel 11 contacted the mayor's office. Step one is knocking on the front door. If someone answers, they give a quick excuse and leave, but if no one answers, they typically get in through an open door or window. Police say she and another man were drag racing when they struck and killed the victim in his wheelchair. It was right there at her fingertips, but she chose not to on principle. We begin right now with our top stories. A suspect accused of shooting a Louisiana wildlife and fisheries agent has been arrested. It's the last day of school for students in Bossier and Caddo parishes. Children are excited about the break, but most parents don't know that emergency room visits and injuries increase for kids during summer months. We don't yet know the identity of the person who was killed in this crash, but we're in touch with Ross Police, and whenever we get that information and more information about this crash in general, how it happened, we will pass that along to you. Reporting live in Ross Township, Carly Flynn Morgan, Channel 11 News.
Channel 11's Carly Flynn Morgan is live with tonight's big story. Carly?
Melanie, there are two dead after what happened this afternoon. A canine named Aaron and the suspect accused of stabbing him to death. Now authorities are left mourning one of their own killed in the line of duty. Dozens of police officers watched canine Aaron take his final ride. His body left this veterinarian's office where they tried to save him, but his injuries were just too severe. Pittsburgh Police Canine's Facebook page posted this picture of Aaron. He was 5 years old and had worked for Port Authority Police for the past 4 years. County police tell us this all started when a father and son were drinking under a gazebo on Port Authority property here in this Wilkinsburg neighborhood. When police approached, they say the pair assaulted the officers, then got away. Minutes later, they caught up with the son, Bruce Kelly, and told him to stop. A witness describes what happened next.
He just kept on walking. He wasn't listening to the police whatsoever. He just kept on going.
That's when police fired their tasers at Kelly, but his thick coat prevented him from getting shocked.
At that time, they released the dog on the man, and he had a knife and he stabbed the dog. The dog went down, and the officers shot and killed the man.
Several witnesses we talked to heard police fire the tasers and guns.
And all I heard was bang, 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 and I just started screaming.
It's just crazy, and it's sad that something like this has to happen.
Aaron was rushed to the vet but ultimately died. A terrible loss for Port Authority Police.
He's a member of that officer's family, and he's a member of the law enforcement family, and it's a difficult time.
One Port Authority officer was injured in that initial scuffle with the men, although not seriously. Police did find Kelly's father. They tell us he was detained. No word yet on funeral arrangements for canine Aaron. Allegheny County Police are handling this case, and we will continue to keep you updated as they release more details. Reporting live in Pittsburgh, Carly Flynn Morgan, Channel 11 News on Fox 53. The medical examiner says the woman who died in this fire is 57-year-old Kimberly Johnson. Three passersby tried to save her life this afternoon, but they couldn't. The flames were just too powerful.
We watched her as she was coming out, and I think it was just really hard to kind of grasp what was going on. Her body just was burned, and it's hard.
Michael Warren was one of 3 witnesses who tried to help rescue a woman from this fire on Penn Avenue. Sarah Robb took action first as she saw smoke as she was running by.
So I stopped the person Miguel on the bike, and he got his cell phone and called 911, and then we went up to see if anyone was inside.
Police say the victim, Kimberly Johnson, had limited mobility and lived here alone.
I kicked the door in as I started yelling to see if there's someone in there, to see if they're okay. And when I heard something, I tried going in.
That's when he yelled to Warren for a wet towel and tried to reach Johnson once again.
We were having a conversation, then all of a sudden there was just silence.
The group abandoned their efforts and first responders arrived soon after.
Paramedics treated her here on the scene and took her to West Penn Hospital. However, she was pronounced deceased there at the hospital.
These witnesses left shaken after a brave but fruitless ordeal. Polino with evidence of his efforts.
Feels like it just burned it.
Pittsburgh police say there were oxygen tanks found inside that home, but no word yet on the cause of that fire. We do know that no one else was hurt. Reporting live in Pittsburgh, Carly Flynn Morgan, Channel 11 News.
We're going to send it over to Studio A with today's headlines with Carly Flynn Morgan. Carly.
Good afternoon, guys. Here's a look at what's topping headlines. A 29-year-old man accused of shooting and killing a woman on a Solon highway over the weekend pled not guilty. Matthew Ryan Desha has been charged with murder and is being held on a $1 million bond. Police say Desha ran a red light and hit 53-year-old Deborah Pearl's car. His SUV flipped several times. Then police say he got out of his car and shot Pearl. Her family also in court this morning. They held a prayer following the arraignment. Canton police are searching for the person who killed 2 men yesterday morning. It happened in the 2400 block of Midway Avenue. Police say a neighbor called 911. When police arrived, they found 2 men shot and killed in the house. Police say there were also 3 children in the home. They were taken to the hospital as a precaution. Northeast Ohio families are all too familiar with the devastating effects of opioid drug abuse. A new program was launched today at Summit County Public Health to give families special pouches to safely dispose of old medication at home. 40,000 pouches have been donated, and some of those will be available at Acme Pharmacy locations in the greater Akron area. Now, some big news for beer drinkers. The law that put a cap on beer alcohol levels in Ohio was lifted at midnight. It means breweries can serve beer with alcohol content higher than 12%. You're looking at video now from Buckeye Beer Engine in Lakewood. The legislature lifted the cap on alcohol content in beer back in May for the 190 craft breweries here in Ohio, but it takes effect today. Kent State University makes a big change to one of its dining halls. It becomes the first university in the country to feature an entirely gluten-free menu. Kent State says the number of students with gluten intolerance has increased every year, so it created a certified gluten-free dining hall. It's estimated that more than 3 million Americans have an allergy or sensitivity to gluten, a protein found in wheat, rye, and barley. The United Way kicked off its campaign this morning in a delicious way. It held its annual pancake breakfast in Public Square. The fundraiser included about 100 volunteers with help from numerous WKYC team members to raise funds for the United Way. And Greg D was one of those people flipping pancakes this morning. Greg, how you doing over there?
It was a great time.